Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Excuse all of my nerves because from the amount of times that I said the word I think it was very clear that I was extremely nervous. I promise you I will get better at this. But this is not the easiest task to sit in front of a camera and pretty much talk to myself. So, on to, or I guess we should start the episode now. So, first thing I kind of want to talk about is this beautiful weather. Like, I am absolutely obsessed. Okay, I know it's not wedding related. Well, it kind of is because I've actually had tons of brides that have actually got married over the past couple of weeks, and lucky for them, they've had amazing weather. So, congratulations to all of my brides. And I guess grooms, if you could say as well, that have gotten married over the past couple of weeks and got to enjoy this beautiful weather. Personally, myself, I was able to sit and lounge by the pool yesterday after a very stressful month. So I'm happy that I was able to do that. But what I really want to touch base today on the show is the wedding shows. So I touched base I did speak a lot about them, the wedding shows, the wedding magazines that were available here in Windsor. And I was actually a part of the wedding show that just passed. It was on the 20th and the 21st of September. Great turnout. I was very pleased with all of the brides and couples that came in. A lot of them brought moms. They came in with their bridesmaids, girlfriends, even kids. Everyone's welcome. I think it was $10 to join. So great turnout. And actually, I did see a lot of newly engaged brides. Now, I find in the January show, it's a lot busier. I'm not going to lie, there's no doubt about it. And I think the reasoning for that is because most people get engaged in the Christmas season, the New Year season, Valentine's Day. So the wedding shows in January are very, very busy. I would say if not double, possibly triple the attendance that was in September. Although the September show to me is a very intimate show, and I think that is great for the bride that's really trying to gather the information, and it gives you the time to actually speak to the vendors and get the questions answered that you want. Whereas a January show, it's very busy, it's very chaotic. Not to say that you're not going to get the information that you need, but again, having a little bit more one-on-one with the vendors, really getting those questions answered, being able to build a relationship with, a vendor, it definitely makes a huge difference. And sorry guys, I made some notes here. So the one thing I kind of wanted to talk about as well is, what I noticed from just speaking with some of the brides the brides to be and dealing with them is a lot of them don't even have their venues picked yet. And that's a little bit odd for me because generally going to the wedding shows, I find a lot of brides usually tell me their date, where they're kind of having, where the venue is going to be, ideally what style of wedding that they're planning on having. I didn't find that this show. I found a lot of brides were actually recently engaged and were really there to gather information because they didn't know if they were going to be doing a destination wedding or if they were going to be doing a wedding here. So I kind of, after speaking to a couple, I gave them my own personal opinion, and I kind of wanted to bring to your attention just some pros and cons of having, which wedding would be best for you or most suitable for you and what you're trying to gain from your wedding. So, depending on what your vision is, I've had girls who typically want, to spend $5,000-$10,000 and have a backyard wedding, and that's fine. But there are different brides out there. You've got the bride that wants to spend $5,000-$10,000. So typically what I'm kind of getting to is you have to ask yourself, if you don't have a venue, if you don't know the style of wedding that you exactly want yet, you've got to ask yourself these questions. One, what's your budget? Because your budget is going to determine what type of wedding you're going to have. If you have a $50,000 budget, by all means, have a nice big wedding, bring 200 people, you know, you can set up at Kaboto, different venues in Windsor, do what you need to do. Now, for somebody who's looking to spend $5,000-$10,000, I'm not going to say that it's not doable, but you're definitely not going to have 200 people at your wedding, because realistically, the food is going to make up about 1/3 of the cost of a wedding, okay? So the food's typically the most expensive. So I actually had a client 2 weeks ago come in, and I was doing a fitting for her, and her wedding was in a week away, and she basically told me her caterer canceled 2 weeks prior to her wedding. Okay, so could you imagine the stress on her 2 weeks prior to her wedding, changing her caterer? So things happen, not a big deal. She was able to find somebody else, but she was getting married, on a private property. So she had a caterer coming in. Her wedding was a lot more affordable, $5,000-$10,000. You know, one, you're not paying for a venue. Generally, if you're doing private property, I'm assuming that a lot of the decor is natural decor, a lot of greenery. So that is definitely a way to save some money and cut cost. Now, your other option is destination. Now, when you're looking at destination, you've got to look at, you know, kind of everything that goes around it. And when I say that, I'm talking about, let's take, for instance, the natural disasters that's going on right now. You look at the hurricanes, the damages that it's done to some of these beautiful Caribbean islands, that could definitely take an effect on your wedding. I've got some clients getting married December, January, February destination, and they're a little bit concerned right now. There's obviously been some damages done to the resort, and right now they're keeping their fingers crossed and praying and hoping that they're able to get that resort back up to life prior to their wedding so that they can enjoy it as they envisioned it to be. Now, one client I actually wanted, it's not even a client, it was a couple that I was speaking to at the wedding show. And the reason I want to bring them up is because our conversation kind of sat with me because they were very green to the wedding industry. And I'm assuming that some of you watching me now are very green to even how to plan a wedding. And that's completely okay because you've never done it before. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to educate you. Now, when I was speaking to them, he lives in Maine and she lives here in Windsor. So they were thinking about having a wedding at a midway point. Their midway point is Montreal. So as I'm talking to them, I'm going, okay, so where's the family members? I'm trying to figure out kind of their surroundings and grabbing some details from them as far as, family goes. Is everyone going to travel? Can you even speak French? And basically what I said to them is, look, you've got 3 options. You can do destination, you guys can get married at a halfway point, or you can choose either to get married in Windsor or in Maine. Sounds to me like Windsor and Maine are completely off the charts. So now they're kind of contemplating whether or not they should do a destination wedding or they should get married at a halfway point. So I basically brought to their attention and said, look, if you're planning to get married at a halfway point, you've got to ask yourself, one, planning a wedding is very stressful. If you're going to be getting married in an area that you're not very familiar with, which they both agreed that they're not very familiar with Montreal, and they speak very little French. Not to say that Montreal does not speak English, but I think we all know that their primary language is French, and it's going to probably be a little bit more difficult to communicate and get things done and get all the proper details. One, with not only not speaking French. 2, with being the distance that we are away, you're definitely going to need a wedding planner, okay? Because at least here you have an idea of venues, you know where everything is, you're a little bit more well connected, you're familiar with florists, you're familiar with photographers. When you're going to Montreal, everything is so new, and to make all of those big decisions can can be very overwhelming. And not only that did I bring up to their attention, I also brought up the fact that it's going to be quite costly for everyone to meet at a halfway point. So if you've got people coming from the States and you have people coming from Windsor, London, Chatham, whatever the case may be, everyone still has to travel. So in reality to that, everyone's going to either be taking planes or driving, taking the train, so there's costs there. Now, they're still going to bring a gift, again, costs there. They're not only going to have to rent a hotel, probably for more than one night, 2 nights. Now, typically, if you are planning a wedding out of town, you would meet up or discuss some discounted rates with a hotel and set up everyone there. So you would gain some savings that way, especially bringing, let's say, 40, 50, 60 people into a hotel. Although it's still costly. I've been to weddings. I had a cousin get married in Sudbury, and at the end of the day, the amount of money that I spent to go to Sudbury, drive to Sudbury, pay for a hotel, get a gift, I pretty much could have spent that money and went and sat on a beach for a week and had a beautiful, and she could have had a beautiful destination wedding. Everyone travels there. You're now there with all of your family members, close friends for an entire week. If you wish to stay an extra week for your honeymoon, everyone kind of goes home and you get to enjoy some time to yourself as a newlywed. So you've really got to look at what suits you. And I think when planning a wedding, I don't want to say that you should make it all about your guests, but I definitely think that you should take into consideration your guest as well. There's other things to take into consideration as well is, some people shy away from destination weddings because, grandma and grandpa aren't able to travel. Some people aren't able to fly. So, those are issues as well, which will refrain clients from doing a destination wedding. Typically, from what I've gathered, speaking with travel agents as well as brides getting married, in the Caribbean, Jamaica, whatever the case may be, even Italy, for the most part, the wedding is generally paid for from your guest. So when you're bringing 15, 20 people, 30 people to an island, not only are they going to get a discounted rate because you've got such a large group going, but typically they bundle the cost of you and your fiance in there as well, so your wedding is typically free. Now, I'm sure there's a few costs as far as, upgrades. Are you looking to have what style of meal are you looking to have at your wedding? But those charges are a lot more affordable than doing it here, typically because the crowd is not going to be that large. To bring 100 people to a destination wedding is probably not most ideal. I think typically usually 30 to 60 people is what you would get if you did a destination wedding. Now, what else did I want to touch base on today? So I think if you're still kind of deciding what you want to do, go grab a piece of paper, make some notes, write down the pros, write down the cons, sit down with your fiance, maybe sit down with a close friend or your mom and go over those options, because marriage, I think sometimes when people are planning a wedding, they look past the meaning of a wedding, okay? And basically, it's a celebration of your love and your commitment to one another. And I think nowadays, a lot of people are really trying to accomplish that wow factor. People are very materialistic. They're very competitive. You can see it even with Instagram and Facebook, the amount of selfies that we take in a day. We want to be the best. We want to look the best. We want to have the best. So sometimes, I look at some of my brides and I go, is it necessary? So, and I'm not trying to shy you away from having all the bells and the whistles at your wedding, but don't stress over it. Don't break your bank for it. You know what I mean? Have something realistic. Set a budget. That's number one. You need to set a budget because that is going to determine what style of wedding that you're going to have. I mean, if your budget's $20,000, can you have a decent wedding in Windsor? Yeah, you might have to cut some of your, you're not going to have all the bells and whistles. I mean, let's do it based on a hundred guests. So $20,000, is it manageable in Windsor? Yes. $30,000, $40,000, you're gonna have a great wedding, beautiful decor, probably top-notch food, open bar, that sort of nature. And then, you look at destination, you're probably not gonna spend too much. You're looking more probably $5,000 to $10,000 max. And then you've got like a backyard wedding that you can do for very affordable as well, depending on how many guests you bring. So definitely sit down, make notes, take a look at your budget, see where your family is with things, where is everyone coming from. So those are definitely things to take into consideration when picking a venue, picking the date, and so forth. The other thing I kind of want to mention is when picking the date, some dates are very meaningful to people. Some people want, the date that they first met, the date of their first date, or, the date of your parents' anniversary. I mean, whatever the case may be, but that's going to be your anniversary for the rest of your life. So I had one client that actually said, you know what? I want to get married in the wintertime because for my anniversary every year, I want to go away. So in her head, that was the purpose of her date. She wanted to get married in the wintertime. So every year on her anniversary, she had a reason to escape this cold weather and go down somewhere beautiful and sit by the sun with her husband on their anniversary. So just different little things. Just think about them, guys. I know it's not much and they kind of sound silly sometimes, but they do matter. Now, let me see here what else I had to talk about. We talked about the pros and cons. I think I want to talk now about kind of what I found at the wedding show. I was actually set up next to the soap company Ocean Bottom Soap, and they were great. They had diffusers set up. I think I had the perfect spot in the entire show, believe it or not. I had on the left of me was a DJ. They had a photo booth that you could take selfies in. They print out right ahead of you, I think, which is great for weddings. It's definitely fun to capture all the wildness and craziness on the night of. And, everyone's looking good. Everyone's dressed up. So why not capture that? I know that there's some other ways that you can do that. There's when you leave a disposable camera on the table and everyone kind of takes pictures and then you go and get them developed and probably shocked with some of the pictures that are on that camera. But I think the photo booth idea is very smart. There's different styles of them. They've got now the one that's like an actual mirror that has a camera in it, so you can kind of see what you're taking. And then they also have the photo booth with the props, which I think is very fun as well. And I'm sure a lot of you've seen that. I think that's a great idea. I've seen a lot of fun entertainment. What was there that I thought was pretty unique as well? There was actually this cute little gelato setup. It was a little dessert setup, and basically what they do is they come in, they set up next to your dessert table or towards the end of the night, and they bring in different flavors of gelato, and you can have a scoop of ice cream and go about your business. So I think that was pretty cool. What else did I see? There was a couple new hairstylists. There was one, it was pretty cool. They're traveling. So all they do is pretty much, they travel right to you, which was pretty cool. I met and spoke with the owners of that booth there. They were fun. Now, the Ocean Bottom Soap Company, they were great. My son has eczema, so they actually have, it's all natural, and they have this natural bar of soap that's actually good for healing and washing the eczema. It's very soft on the skin, so I'm excited to check that out. I have yet to been to the store. It's actually located on Les Bronce. It's 1614 Les Bronce Road, Tecumseh. If you're not familiar with them, check out their Facebook page, check out their website. It's oceanbottomsoap.com, okay? And again, everything's natural. The owner's been doing it for 25 years. She was fabulous. I had some great conversations with them. Their display was beautiful. They had the entire wedding show smelling absolutely beautiful. They had these little diffusers that you put like essential oils in, and they smelled great, and they helped with like sleep and stress. So if you are, incurring any of those issues, make sure you go check them out. I was very pleased with their products. Now, the DJ, he was playing some great music next to me. I can't deny that. And yeah, so I think, I know what I want to talk about. 2018. I just made all of my purchases for 2018. I am super excited for you guys to see the new dresses, the new evening wear, new mother of the bride, new bridesmaids. There is some fabulous designs. Like, I cannot wait to get my hands on them. I wish I could show them to you. I really want to, if I can wing it in here or be able to manage it, I'm going to get some models in hopefully in the next couple of podcasts, or sorry, not next couple because I won't have the dresses yet, but I want to do a fashion show. I think it's good for you guys to see what's out there. They actually do a fashion show at the wedding show, believe it or not. Unfortunately, I could not be a part of it this year because my store flooded. So I'm sure some of you were affected with the flood as well, and what a hassle that has been, let me tell you. So I've actually been closed for a month. So if you've came to the store or dropped by and I have been closed, I now officially open, and I want to thank everyone for their patience with me and everything that I've been through this month. I've maintained everything with my clients, so I want to thank everyone for being patient, but I've actually had a couple brides who were also affected by the flood. So, anyone affected by the flood in Windsor, I totally understand what you went through and what a great amount of stress that brings on to somebody. I'm in Riverside, so just driving down the roads, the amount of stuff on people's front yards was brutal. Like, it was very sad. Actually, I had clients, her house flooded, and she lives right around the corner from us, and she was getting married in a week, and her house flooded, and she had a bunch of company coming, so she was just stressed through the roof trying to get everything organized, not only for the wedding, but trying to get the house back up and running so that she could accommodate all the guests coming in and staying at her house. So, I think I've touched base on what I've really wanted to talk about today. I think going forward, I've got some guests that I have planning on coming in. I've got Nancy Capano that I want to bring in from the wedding show. She's very knowledgeable. She's been doing this for 30 years. She's been planning. She plans 2 of them a year. She's fabulous. She's super organized, very, very well connected in with the wedding industry, from all of the photographers to DJs to decorators to other wedding stores. So I really want to bring her in. I haven't even asked her yet, but I think she'll say yes. So that should be fun. And then I've got the lady from the wedding guide that I would love to bring in. She's great. She's very knowledgeable as well. She travels from city to city, and basically she eats, breathes, and sleeps weddings. So I've got a couple guests that I want to bring in. I also want to team up with Sam Pronger from Golden Bodies. So if you haven't checked out her podcast yet, be sure to check her out because she's super fun. She's actually my personal trainer, believe it or not. So, and that's something that I want to touch base on too, is weight loss. A lot of my clients, when planning a big day like this, you want to look your best. So you might have 10 pounds to lose, you might have 20 pounds to lose. And if that's something that you're looking to do, I would highly, highly recommend that you check Sam out. She's been great to me. I've been working with her since January. I've recently lost 30 pounds. So I know it works. It's not easy to do, but it can be done. And I think having someone like Sam to really push you is great, and that's exactly what you need. So if you haven't checked out her podcast yet, be sure to check her out. She's amazing. She's super fun. She's real. She's been through, you know, the weight loss challenges herself, so she knows what you're dealing with. Even if it's just to become healthier, you may not even want to lose weight. So her and I, we've talked. We want to put something together. I think her and I were talking, even doing kind of like a, I guess, bridal party against bridal party, and we were touching base on doing a weight loss challenge. So we've got some fun ideas. So definitely stay tuned. Be sure to check all of the shows out. And if you have any questions, be sure to message me on Bella Bridal Windsor, both Facebook and Instagram. I did mention last show that I was going to put something together for the Smart Bride. I think typically right now, I'm going to just keep it right towards my business, just because I'm very prompt on answering those and I can get to them a lot quicker. And in my opinion, there's no reason why you shouldn't be following me on Instagram or Facebook anyways. Check out the styles. I'm always uploading, new trends, new styles, new inventory. So be sure to check me out on there. It's Bella Bridal Windsor, both Facebook and Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, just personal message me. I will get back to you very promptly, answer your questions, and I can even address them here on the show. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't make it out to the wedding show that just passed, there will be 2 more coming up in January. Don't miss those. Make sure you grab a copy of Bridal Confidential, the wedding guide, which you can find both at my store located at 5862 Wyandotte Street East. Thank you very much, and you guys have a wonderful day.